Another day, another mission, risking our necks for the Ark. You know, I ask myself, Dux, why are you out here? And...
You know why. The Ark's water pump is broken again, and Hammond said he needs more scrap to fix it.
yeah, well, we'd do it a lot better if he'd sent us somewhere with actual scrap to find.
Why do you have to be so annoying? Come on, we gotta head back before Prep closes for the night.
Trust me, I'm not annoying.
Shut the hell up.
Want to see annoying? I can show you annoying.
What's wrong with you? We're in the zone. Keep your eyes open and...
Mouth shut. Yeah, you only told me that 9,000 times already, Borman.
Okay, so this is the zone, which is the kind of the post-apocalyptic wasteland that you explore for much of the game. You explore it in this way. You can switch between characters. You can also switch between running around with your torch illuminated and turning it off. We'll get onto that in just a minute. And these, as you can see from the paths, these areas are pretty linear normally, and you can sort of flash up your objective and show you which way you want to go. But you can also do a bit of exploring, which will reward you with items like scrap, which is a handy resource that you can use to buy things.
The air stinks like mutants. Not just any mutants. Stalkers. Tight muscles. Good meat. I smell it too. Where there's stalkers, there's Ark. Where there's Ark, there's... Killing time for Skizix and Treble. Oh, they're close! 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 Over there! Come, brother! I'm on that trail.
Okay, so these are zone ghouls. Basically, they are your main enemies, as you may have been able to guess from that bit of dialogue. And this is a fairly good indicator of how you can stealth your way around the world, because a lot of the combat, or a number of them anyway, a number of the combat encounters are actually optional. So I decided to go around this one to kind of show that off. You can also use stealth mode to set yourself up and basically ambush your enemies, and we will see that in due course. But for the time being, we're just trying to stay out of that circle, which, as you may have guessed, is the line of sight of the ghoul, this one being a butcher. And we're just gonna slowly sneak around the side, kind of hug this water line, and slowly move ourselves off to safety.
Hold it. Ghouls. I don't like the look of that big one. We have to be sneaky. Okay, here's the plan. We turn off our lights, then hug the water. Go around them.
Okay, so we got past that first little group, but as you can see from this little bit of tutorial here, there are some fights that are optional, and there are some fights that you really ought to avoid. Like this tank, who I think it's going to say he's level... There you go, level 55. So yeah, we really don't want to be messing with him. So we're just going to carry on, sneaking past.
Too ugly to beat. No one loves a stalker. Give me the stalkers. Let them come. Where are you? Ark don't even love stalkers.
And then we're on to the next little area.
The Ark's up ahead. Home, sweet home.
Oh, I'm gonna kiss that elevator when I see it. Get upstairs, take a bath, get a grog with the boys. Get another grog with the boys. Foot massage. Oh, it's gonna be great.
A campsite. Looks like a family lived here. Lived here and died here.
Nothing like a bunch of skeletons to put your mind at ease.
So as you can see, you do get bits of sort of story and sort of flavour from around you. Oh, there's a couple of med packs there. From dialogue, but also in kind of this environmental storytelling where you encounter stuff in the wilderness, and it really does pay to explore. I mean, obviously this is very much on the beaten track, this particular bit, but there are lots of bits where it helps you sort of reveal bits of lore and other bits about the environment just by going off the beaten track a little bit.
There's a cabin up ahead. Definitely feel a ghoul vibe coming off of it.
So we run in, guns blazing?
Too dangerous. If we're sneaky, we can get into a good position. A good position keeps us alive. Turn off your flashlight.
Okay, so this is where we'll get our first little look at the sneaking mechanic and the way to sort of thin out the enemy numbers by being very cautious. So we're going to sort of move down here, start to get a lay of the land.
Hungry, hungry. I guess we take the ark. Taste the mutants. Love me some mutants. Here we go! Rip their hearts, crush their... Hey, hey! You hear that? You hear that noise? I hear my stomach. Hungry! Kill!
Alright, all very, very tense. But we're slowly sort of closing in. And this is one of the cool things you can do in this game, is you can split the party. And we're just going to stash Borm in there. He's now hiding, so he's going to be harder to detect. And we're just going to move off with ducks to a different area to try and set up a decent flank, and maybe even take out an enemy before we engage the rest of them. Because one thing you'll definitely see in this game is that combat can be really pretty deadly, and if you don't manage to get at least 1 or 2 stealth kills in before things all kick off, you can find yourself in a really, really bad position. So this butcher here has only 4 health, which is as much damage as the crossbow we have does at base, so he's a good candidate for our first kill. He's also kind of wandering off on his own. So if we can set ourselves up here, then you go into ambush mode, which basically is the tactical combat bit, as you can see from the tutorial thing on screen now, but we've not been spotted, so if we manage to get this kill in by activating ducks there, is there anywhere we can move to that will give us a better chance of hitting? Not really, but a 50% chance to kill him outright. It's not terrible, so let's take the shot. Hooray, it's come good. So now we go straight back into exploration mode because we've not been heard, we've not been seen. And because that went so well, we're basically given the chance to set up another little ambush. So we're just going to move ducks in, pick up some delicious loot, and then just try and get another decent position on our enemies. Of course, other games, you know, like XCOM 2, they've done stealth starts to missions before. Like you could start off in stealth and try and keep that going for as long as possible. But the fact that it's free movement really helps make it feel very, very different, which I really like. So we've got ducks set up here again. It's another 50-50 chance to kill the guy. Either way, if we miss him, he'll know. If we hit him, that hunter will certainly know about it. So we're probably going to go loud straight after this shot. Just again scoping out anywhere we can go to increase the percentage likelihood of hitting without crossing that line and alerting the enemy to our presence, because that would basically get rid of our advantage. And you can see, is one thing this game is very good at, actually showing you lines of sight and what percentages would be like if you move to a certain area. Obviously I spent quite a long time dithering here trying to line up the shot perfectly, and then just moved off to Bormin anyway, just to kind of see what he was about and what we could cook up with him. What exactly did I do? Let's see. So again, if I want to stay in cover, the best I can hope for is a 50-50. I could move out of cover and get 100. Let's play it safe. And put Bormin on Overwatch. There's the shot. it has missed. So now the enemy has certainly been alerted, and we're into more traditional fare that you might be familiar with, like XCOM and stuff, where it is enemy turn, our turn, enemy turn, our turn. And here comes our Marauder, who blessedly has missed. Borman takes his overwatch shot, he misses. And the hunter clips him, and you can see he's just taken off half his health in one shot. So imagine that other Marauder that we killed before was still alive. This would be a much harder fight straight off the bat, which is genuinely quite impressive. Thankfully, this Marauder has obligingly moved right into our line of sight, where we're guaranteed to kill him, which is kind of perfect. But you can kind of see how deadly combat can be in this game. Because Borman, you know, he's a massive boar, for crying out loud. He's meant to be pretty tanky. And yet, just with one little shot, that hunter has now twice as much health as Borman does. And he's actually a pretty good shot. He's got decent range on that weapon. So, I'm not going to lie. I mean, when I played this at E3, I was utterly atrocious because it was a very hard demo. They deliberately made it very challenging. I've messed up a couple of times playing this. You know, I think you'll see in this footage, you'll see character bleeding out more than once. Oh, like now, for example. See, there you go. That's half my squad is on the brink of death now, which is really not great. So it's up to Dux to kind of get in there and turn this thing around, either by getting over and healing Borman up, or the tactic I took here, which was just to try and kill that hunter, because once all of the combatants are dead, you don't need to manually revive anyone from your squad. They'll just get up with, if you're playing on normal, they'll regen half of their health. If you're playing on easy, they'll get all their health back. And if you're playing on hard, that was a rubbish shot, they won't get any health back at all. So here we go, moving Dux further in. And now we've got 100% chance. Can't miss. Hunter's down. He's dropped a leg of ham? Or was that a bag? I'm not sure. But either way, Borman gets up. And, okay, I didn't shower myself in glory, but it was at least enough to level us both up. So, when you level up, you get mutation points. As it says here on the screen, they can be minor, major, or passive. And you can only have one of each in your loadout. But at the minute, we've only got 1 point for Dux at all. So, if I just press E to continue, we can have a look at Skull Splitter, a minor mutation, which guarantees a crit if you do hit, but at the penalty of minus 25% accuracy, which still isn't bad. We can't afford the knee shot, which immobilizes other enemies. The only other thing we can afford is a stat boost to health, which costs 1 point. You can sort of see some of these other mutations here. But, God, I did look for a while. There you go, the health booster there, permanently increase health by 1 HP. That's a bit boring compared to Skull Splitter, so we'll go for that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, is what a duck looks like while it's mutating. Its eyes glow a weird form of orange. Anyway, Borman's got 1 point. The only thing we can afford is that boring health booster, so we may as well purchase it. That's a boar, mutating. He's doing a bit of smoking and glowing, and he's fine. And we're straight back into things. Doing more scavenging, basically. Oh yeah, I healed Borman up. I remember now.
Hey, follow me.
So, we've grouped up the party. Now we can just grab some things like a hand grenade and a boombox, an artifact, if you will, from the old times.
Look at this beauty. The ancients left a lot of ugly junk behind, but once in a while you see something like this. Wonder what these buttons are for.
I wouldn't touch it if I were you. I'm not kidding around. Lay off the buttons.
What's up your butt?
That's a bomb, all right. They used to call it a boombox. Touch that red button, and it goes boom.
Don't be pretending you know what any of this crap is. We'll bring it back to the Ark and show it to Prip. Ask him what it's worth on the black market.
So there you go. We found a chest in the world, and we get a Gaper, which is a questionably named gun, but it is quite useful. And I think I gave it to Borman because it is quite good. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, the bit of sort of chatter you had there about a boombox being a bomb, I really like the way this game presents information. Like I like the characterization where they sort of squabble a little bit, even though they rely on each other in, you know, fights to the death and all this kind of stuff. It's a nice way of bringing the world in and keeping you entertained during these exploration bits, which can be, you know, quite slow paced, which is no bad thing really, because when you're sneaking around, you do want to take your time. But yeah, nonetheless, I think the dialogue is a really smart way of bringing things across. It's kind of a way of, well, I guess it is telling you because it's still dialogue, but it's not just people talking at you.
When the ice melted, you said nothing. When the plague spread, you did nothing. When the nukes dropped, you became nothing. At least that's what the Elder says. But cheer up. You'll be happy to know that despite your mistakes, life remains. In a small settlement high above a raging river, people are living and thriving. We call it the Ark. The Ark is humanity's last outpost, a lonely island in an ocean of chaos. Within these walls, we help each other create a new civilization on the ruins of the old one, with the guidance of our leader, the Elder. The Elder tells us we're safe as long as we never leave, because outside these walls lies the Zone, the never-ending wasteland. A mass grave spanning the planet, littered with your crumbling monuments, your hubris and arrogance. What the Elder chooses not to tell us is our food and water supplies are running dangerously low. That's why he relies on stalkers, adventurers who leave the Ark, explore the Zone, and scavenge for precious resources. Stalkers are tough enough to resist the rot, and they got the smarts and the firepower to keep the Zone ghouls at bay. Stalkers have to be more than human. That's me, Mr. More Than Human, aka a mutant. I look weird to you, but hey, you look weird to me. So let's leave it at that. If the Stalkers come back from the Zone alive, the Ark survives another day. If the Stalkers don't come back, the legacy of mankind will be lost forever. At least, that's what the Elder says.
So there you go, that's a little bit of backstory there, just for anyone who's not familiar with the RPG. You're basically humanity's last lifeline, which is, you know, no pressure. It's fine, really. Okay, so you see the lift there coming down from the Ark. That is your objective.
Home sweet home. The elevator's up ahead.
So that Dux can go drink his grog and get his feet rubbed. Which he made sound very sensual, given he's a duck. But, you know, so it goes. Little bit more looting before we get into the lift.
Whoa, hold up. Got two ghouls hiding over there. Think they want to hitch a ride on our elevator. Forget that. Let's sneak around and see if there's any others.
And there we go, we're into the sneaky setup ambush passage of play, which it's nice. There's sort of a good ebb and flow to this game. Obviously you can be wrenched out of the sort of the gentle pattern of setting up an ambush and then making it work, etc., etc. If you get spotted, which, believe you me, is a real pain and things can go wrong very, very quickly. But all in all, when things go well, there's a lovely cadence to this game between, you know, things progressing in terms of like their exploration and then sort of getting into the firefights in a method of your own choosing rather than having them just thrust upon you. So here I am again, just scoping things out a little bit. We know there are those two guys there because they were having a chat. Got some stuff there. It's just a question of whether there's anyone else sort of nosing around. And whether there's any decent loot to be had. Aha! So we've seen another one of those chests like the one that gave us a gun. And on opening it up, it's a poker visor. Which you wouldn't think is especially useful in the post-apocalypse, but apparently it adds 25% to weapon range, which is pretty damn good. So we're going to stick it on Bormin. Whoops. There we go. I'm going to stick it on Bormin because the Gaper is pretty useful at damage output, especially with the crit chance. So yeah, it's worth kind of sticking it on him basically, because more often than not he's the one who goes second during an ambush, and he might be a little bit further away than Dux, at least the way I've been playing. So anyway, that was a note from Stalker Clara, another bit of sort of world building you get. You can just sort of find if you're thorough enough, and sure enough, there is a marauder sort of bimbling around. So we know we've got 3 people to deal with, and at this point, I think it's when I decided to split the party. So I tucked Bormin behind this tree, so I wasn't going to use him just yet, because he's only got loud weapons, and then decided to try and set up Dux on the rooftop to snipe down at that guy as he went past. So really at this point it's just a matter of waiting and trying to put Bormin in a better position should everything go pear-shaped. So because he's a bit of a, you know, he's more of a close-in fighter, starting to take him round to where those guys are sort of stationary. Did I just tuck him in here? Fairly sure I did. Yeah, there we go. So then it's just a matter of waiting for that marauder to come around again. And I like the fact that all this stuff is played out in real time rather than in turns. It makes it feel more tense. It doesn't feel like you're just mashing the skip turn or, you know, pass to enemy turn button. Because it actually took a wee while for the marauder to come back around. And I really like that. It's not something you often see in turn-based strategy games. Because, well, they're turn-based. A turn takes as long as a turn takes. But when you've got these moments of uncertainty, and then finally, you know, when I was looking at Bormin, I spotted that dude. So, let's wait till he's close enough, mash space, and see if, once we've activated Dux, we can get the kill in. And it's good! So there we go. Despite the fact that guy kind of gave a little bit of a scream, we're still able to sort of stay in stealth, which was really, really nice. So we stuck Bormin on Overwatch. At this bit, I'm not going to lie, I was struggling to work out how to get down off the building. I forgot that you need to use the mouse wheel to switch between floors, which is just a really basic strategy game thing, to be perfectly honest with you. just rotate the mouse wheel, Johnny, it's not that hard. There we go. There it is. Thank you for being patient, everybody. And then we just tucked Dux in there. Tried to work out an advantageous position to stick him in for when we inevitably went loud. Ditto with Bormin. And again, there's a nice thing about the fact that you're in stealth. You can take your time to really line up your ambush and try and just make it as tipped in your favour as possible. Although at this point I think I just decided, yep, I was going to take the shot, and it came off well. So all of a sudden, now we're only up against one hunter, which really helps level the playing field. That's a 50-50 shot. Did it work? Yes, it did. Bully for me. I still think I managed to cock some of this up. Can't quite remember. Because here comes our hunter. That's right, he just got a really good line of sight on ducks. And then I found it quite hard to return fire. Ah, and another marauder came in. But of course. So, yeah, while, like, some of the areas, I know from having played this game at E3 and from the demo, some of the areas are surprisingly big, and there are mutants that you may just not even know are there, kind of like velociraptors in Jurassic Park, unless you do really, really thorough scouting. So, for example, I could have worked out that there was yet another one, but I just completely missed it. So instead, I was stuck in this position, again, dithering on where best to put the duck in order to get a good shot off. I think I decided that because it was 25%, whether I moved or not, in terms of staying in cover and getting a shot off, I healed myself up, and then I went for it, and it went wide, because 25% is a rubbish percentile to be shooting on. I should really know better. But do I learn my lesson? Absolutely not. Instead of putting Borman on Overwatch... Oh no, I did put him on Overwatch. Oh, bully for me. So that's 4 damage on ducks after he just healed himself up for 3. So thank goodness I used that health pack, otherwise he would be in a whole world of pain. What did I do with ducks here? You can see me just obsessing about improving the percentage to hit ratio. It doesn't look very good. Stuck him on Overwatch, that's right. Looking for decent cover. There's not loads there. But I moved him up anyway. And on a 25% chance, I could have thrown a grenade in, but they only do 1 damage. Which isn't great. 25% chance. Of course I missed. Didn't learn my lesson. And then it was the enemy turn. And thank goodness that hunter missed. Because ducks could have been in a lot of trouble. So then what have we got? I think at this point I decided ducks needed to sort of pull back a bit before he found himself in very serious trouble. And I, while I thought about putting Borman wide out in the open, which in retrospect was a bit silly. So I reloaded and stuck him on Overwatch, I guess. There we go, move ducks back. Is out of range. So I tried to stick him on Overwatch, but didn't seem to want to do it, so I reloaded instead. I didn't stick Borman on Overwatch. Okay, here we go. And another ill-advised 25% shot, which did not pay off. Again, I said at the top of this video, I'm not the most gifted of strategy players. I'm a brave amateur, basically. And so this fight really dragged on for longer than it needed to, but thankfully another marauder was obliging and just set me up for a kill shot, which was delightful. At this point, I decided to bring ducks back in because I was getting cocky. Probably for another disastrous 25% chance. Or did I risk I bet the farm on a 50%er. I absolutely did. World-class play there. Nothing hubristic about it at all. Just checking the crit percentages. Oh, it did come off well, so, you know. That could have gone a lot better, could have gone a lot worse. Either way, still enough to level up. You can sort of see a theme emerging here as I fail forward through Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden. But here we go. With the enemies cleared out, it's time to pick up a weapon mod to increase the critical damage and knockback chance of a shot. Pick up everything else. Common scrap, weapon parts. More scrap there. More weapon parts. And then it was pretty much straight on to the lift. Or was it? Oh yeah, I remember now. Unfortunate skeleton, but one more chest. This time with some armour, which is great. Improves the HP by 2. So obviously, given the beating he'd just taken, I was quite happy to stick that on Dux.
The Elder meets us at the elevator. He says he doesn't have a second to lose. The mission's too important. Our mission, he says, is a man. And that man is Hammond. Everyone in the Ark knows Hammond, respects him. He's our lead, gearhead, going farther into the zone than anybody else, bringing back the machines that help us survive. He knows how to keep those machines running, how to fix them when they fall apart. Hammond keeps the Ark's heart beating. The Elder says 3 nights ago Hammond took his team of stalkers and headed north, not telling anyone why. They haven't come back. I've never seen the Elder this shaken before. It scares me. He tells us Hammond has a remote cabin in the north that could yield some clues to his location. Me and Dux never patrolled that far before, but the Elder says he has faith in us. He believes in us. So, this mission we accept. Go to Hammond's cabin, search for clues, then find Hammond and bring him back alive. The fate of the Ark depends on it.
Okay, so this is the Ark. It's kind of in the same vein as, say, the base in XCOM, or the ship in XCOM 2. There are just little sections that you can click on in order to prep yourself for the next mission. So we've got things like Prip's Place, which is the first one we go to.
After a killer day in the zone, you know you can always come to Prip's for some high-quality grog. You want to get loaded? Order a shot. No butane, no bleach, only natural ingredients. I also dabble in a little antiquity trading. So if you find any cool artifacts out in the wasteland, bring them to me and I might give you something in return. Comprende?
Okay, so that artifact there that we found, the boombox, is enough to unlock 3 of these. I decided tough guy, extend crew bleed out time by 2 rounds was a sensible one for me personally to take, given how much damage I was taking so far. Now we've also got Delta's Fix Pit.
Want to know how this goes down? For the right price, I fix and upgrade your shitty gear. Any questions?
Not quite as talkative, but still, you know, to the point is good sometimes. So, at this point we've got 18 weapon parts available. I'm pretty sure that all of the upgrades were at least 20 weapon parts. So, not actually able to upgrade any of the weapons thus far, but if you remember, we did find that modifier that would help us up the crit damage. So I decided to stick it on the crossbow, because I use the crossbow a lot to initiate fights, because it's silent and it means we got a chance of carrying on without it. But at only 4 damage, it means that currently I can only target marauders rather than hunters, for example. So upping the crit damage, while it doesn't guarantee that I could take on tougher enemies, still gave us a better fighting chance.
You know the drill. Stalkers want gear that keeps them alive. I, Iridia, provide the gear. See anything you like, just let me know. There is one rule. Don't ever pull my chain. If you pull my chain, I'll feed your ding-dongs to a zone wolf. Got that? Beautiful. Happy shopping.
So cheerful. Anyway, so this is where you can spend the scraps that you accumulate in the world on items like hand grenades and molotovs. I bought a med kit because, well, see above, I take a lot of damage. And then with that done, it's just a matter of dropping in on the Elder, who looks like Michael Gambon.
Will always be a haven to you, brave stalkers. After your journeys, pay me a visit, and I'll offer you some guidance, perhaps a story, to help you become wise and strong. Farewell. Remember your elder's guidance.
So with our business concluded on the Ark, it's time to go to Hammond's cabin.
Thanks for signing me up back there, you crazy pig. Yes, Mr. Elder. Sign us up for a suicide mission, Mr. Elder. Did you forget there's like a cajillion ghouls out here who want to kill us?
Nobody gets to kill you but me now. Shut the duck up and keep moving.
I'm telling you, Borman, ain't no happy ending in this story.
Stalkers don't get happy endings. We get each other. So watch my back.
Shut the duck up. Absolutely classic line. Now, this is an area, again, it's quite wide open, so you can go exploring. Here, I found a bunch of bones. Didn't see anything wrong with that. Just gonna push on. And this is where the risk element of looking further afield for more items comes in, because I saw the friendly glow of scrap. And then, sure enough, zone dogs. Was not expecting this, and as you'll see, it taught me a very important lesson about not pushing my luck, and also just how quickly a fight can go against you. Because here comes Mother's Own Dog, knocks down ducks, and suddenly I'm in a really tough fight. I thought maybe if I really put the boots in on the Mother's Own Dog, she'd leave ducks alone and I'd be able to get up. All the while I was taking a pretty firm pasting, which meant that by the time the Mother's Own Dog did indeed pay attention, I was already bleeding out. So, same situation, now just reversed. I've got ducks on 3 health, still got 3 dogs, still got Mother's Own Dog there. Decided still to try and take her down, which in retrospect may have been stupid. Not that it really matters, because in came his own dog. In came his own dog. And that was Curtains, which is really quite impressive. So anyway, I'd learned my lesson, so by the time I loaded back in, I decided to ignore those dogs and just press straight on to the cabin, and sure enough, ghouls.
Bad news is there's 2 friggin' ghouls casing the joint.
So, 2 over there. I decide to send Bormin round that way to try and set up the flank. The good news is you can always just hide them. And if you don't like your tactical options, as long as you've not been spotted, you can just move them around again. It's really useful. Because then I found out there's one more in the house.
We'll catch Hammond and squeeze the secrets from his head.
Hammond will tell us what the junk is for.
The junk is for us. All of it.
So I need to just pause and take the lay of the land a little bit. Because if there's one thing Marauders like doing, it's going on patrol. So while you're hidden, you can actually stay inside the circle and you won't be found, which is a really, really useful mechanic. Feels maybe a little bit OP, but I don't know, I certainly wasn't complaining because it meant that I could do this and wait until he was in really, really close range, meaning as soon as I activated ducks, I could just kill that guy outright. It was beautiful. It was a crit as well, which is really useful. And another level up. So with this one, I think I buffed... Yep. Buffed Dux's health up a bit. Still got 2 points available. I went and had a look at Bormin. And I unlocked Run and Gun. Which is always just a useful ability to have. And it kind of helps you build the sense that you can really make Bormin into a assault kind of class. And I upped Dux's movement. 1 point left on Bormin, but we can't unlock anything now, so let's leave that banked. And we're off again. So you can see here, I think about sneaking past, but actually that circle sort of expands to meet you, because if you get really close by, I guess they can hear you. So it's actually probably for the best to just hunker Ducks down a little bit there. Oh no. Oh, that's right. Another thing you can do, because you can cancel, you can see in the bottom right, exit combat, you can just check out the chance of you scoring a hit, and you don't have to commit to actually making an attack or going into turn-based mode, which is really, really useful. Because then we went over to Bormin to see what he could do. And then essentially what we've got, if I remember this correctly, working out where to go to really upset the shaman and do them a lot of damage without possibly missing. That's no good. So I'll see him. But I'll find it in a second. There's a square there where I won't be seen, and it will give me a 100% chance to score a hit. So that felt to me like the best chance to set up an ambush. But Duck's not in a great position, so we're going to move him back round. Get back to Bormin. Move him over there. And then really hoping for a crit there, to be perfectly honest. But never mind, because we brought ducks in. So at this point I was trying to work out how to get ducks in there for the best possible chance, still being in cover, and hopefully taking out the shaman. Now, you'll see the crossbow there has a damage of 4. He's got 5 health left. So I knew I was going to have to rely on a 20% crit chance. But then I remembered... Come on, in we go. I'd unlocked the Skull Splitter ability. So, dropping down to a 75% chance to hit, I could get a 100% crit chance. And it was very, very useful. This is another interesting thing, is that it's not on a turn... Lovely. It's not on a turn-based countdown. It's on kills, so I have to get 3 kills in total for Dux to be able to use the ability again. Obviously we've already got 1. He's taking flak, because of course he is. I'm not very good at protecting my guys. But we're going to send Bormin in once I've stopped messing around with the number keys with a little run and gun, which is very satisfying indeed. There we go. It's not a medkit I want. It's run and gun. I think I just, in the end, used the mouse. Yes. There we go. Right. So. Run and gun to sprint over there. 100% chance to hit. May as well use the Gaper to do as much base damage as possible. Then this is where I really cocked up, because I got ahead of myself and I went over there and I forgot that a pistol shot without a crit wouldn't be enough to kill the hunter. So then he was able to get a shot off. I was really bricking it at this point. Rightly so, because Duck started bleeding out. But luckily I was able to send Bormin in, as you'll see in just a second. There we go. In he came. 1 shot. And it was all over. And we leveled up again. And we got another weapon mod. And that basically is Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden. Hopefully you enjoyed me playing it. I like this a lot. I'm not great at it. But it's kind of, it's got some really lovely elements that help you set yourself up properly for the fight ahead, and also just the way it's done, it just dares to be a little bit different, and it's really fun and refreshing, and I love the world. I mean, you're a duck and a boar who squabble about what ancient technologies used to be and whether their names are any good. It's just, it's like I say, it dares to be different, and it's a lot of fun.
Like and share if you enjoy the video and think others might benefit from this, and of course subscribe and hit the notification button if you are new to the channel and want to be notified every time I post a video.